Hey guys, here's something I've been looking forward to for quite a long time. It's called Cosmic Encounter. Yes, it's a board game. But let me talk about board games for a minute. Why I'm so interested in board games and acquiring them. It's similar to Blu-rays, I guess, or video games, or books, or comic books, or a lot of different things that people collect for a number of reasons. They enjoy the ownership of it. They enjoy viewing the movie if it's a movie, playing the video game if it's a video game, reading the comic book. And in a lot of cases, you've read the comic book once. It's not like you can't go back and revisit it. You can. And maybe, sorry for my allergies, I'm really sniffling today. And maybe 20 years later to read the comic book. I've done this. There's a sense of nostalgia. It's like, oh yeah, I remember it, but it's like with a movie, you sort of remember it, but you see new things when you read it again or watch it again. And so, I'm going to sound like Donald Trump here sniffling. He must be allergic, huh? And so, board games. Why board games? Well, I enjoy collecting them, number one. Number two, it's a great family thing to do. I've got 3 boys, 2 18-year-olds and a 16-year-old. I've also got a 12-year-old daughter, and some of these games she'll be able to play. And then I've got a grandchild who's just going to be a year old here in another 2 weeks. And I'm thinking that one day he'll be able to play the game, along with my oldest son. And even his wife perhaps might like to play this game. So, Cosmic Encounter. What is there about Cosmic Encounter that I really liked or like? And why did I want it so much? And why has it taken me that long to buy it? Well, let me tell you all those things. Just give me 1 second here. Okay, let me start with why did it take me so long to get it. I read about it and watched some videos on it. And the game is $59.99. I had store credit, as I think you might recall if you've watched a few of these videos, from selling in some Magic cards that I had. So I had the money on account, and I went to buy it once, some weeks back, and the store owner said, really, Cosmic Encounter? Yeah, I played that. I don't really understand why it's popular. I didn't get it. And I knew it was like a 30-year-old game, and I thought, well, maybe I'm missing something here. And so I didn't buy it at the time. I bought something else instead, which I enjoyed. But I went back and researched it some more, read critical opinions of it, and there are some, and then read the folks who really love it. And the folks who really love it have it as like their favorite game of all time. What do they like about it? Apparently no 2 games are ever the same. And I can see that. There's a basic premise for the game, and I'll explain that as I open the box and look into the box. But there are a lot of variables in the game, and the variables affect the game greatly. And so when you have variables that affect a basic game greatly, every game is going to be different. So let's first take a look at the box. All 4 sides are the same. I'll show you that. These boxes are very well made, as all these games are these days. The days of like Monopoly and that quality cardboard are gone. This is a higher quality cardboard than is used in all. I don't know what they use. They use the same kind of stuff in all these. It's like a little textured. You can hear that versus the old cardboard. So I'll show you the back. Give you some idea here of what it says. And you see no 2 games are the same. And I believe that's probably true from what I've read. So what it says, in the depths of space, the alien races of the cosmos vie with each other for control of the universe. Alliances form and shift from moment to moment, while cataclysmic battles send starships screaming into the warp. Players choose from dozens of alien races, each with its own unique power to further its efforts to build an empire that spans the galaxy. Many classic aliens from earlier editions, I'll talk about that in a minute, of this beloved game return, such as the Oracle, the Loser, and the Clone. Newly discovered aliens also join the fray, including the Remora, the Mite, and the Tic-Tac. This classic game of alien politics returns from the warp once more. It features 50 alien races, flare cards to boost their powers, 100 plastic ships, a host of premium components, and all new tech cards that let players research and build extraordinary technological marvels. You get an idea of some of the pieces here, the ships. These are stacked. There's 4 in each stack here. the planets, which sit underneath, which are, sturdy cardboard. There's a warp area here. Various tokens that you use. Here's a better look at the ships. So a lot of people paint their ships. I don't know how they paint them. Let me look into it. You're painting plastic, but I've seen some people do some really fine work on their saucers. And I don't mean like one color. I mean like some detail on it. So I may end up looking into that. I don't know. Some of the planets are here. Then obviously some of the cards. And then the alien. The alien cards are big. Much bigger than standard cards. So that is the outside of the box. Let me pop this open. Also show you the sides. The sides, front anyway, is a little different here. You got that, and I think the back is the same. Yeah, the back's the same. And the other two sides just say Cosmic Encounter. So you've got a rule book with it. And the rule book is pretty extensive. Not 10 pages long. It's all in English. This is what the original cover looked like. I don't know if I like that better or this with the alien races, but I don't think it matters much. The idea is, I think I like this better, but you get that with the rule book. So I wanted to talk about the different versions. This first came out years ago, over 30 years ago now. The company was called Eon that originally made it. And then it was redone. Well, it came out with 9 expansions from that original set, I believe. And then somebody else came out with it. I want to say it might have been Avalon Hill, Milton Bradley, somebody like that came out with it. They took all the aliens that were in it. There were tons of them, like 90 of them or something. Well, if you had all the expansions. And brought it down to just like 20 or 30, I think. Never played that version, but I've read about it. They did some nice things with the graphics of the game, though. Improved the graphics quite a bit. Changed the planets around. A number of things. But essentially, the game was the same. And now Fantasy Flight has put out this version, which includes 50 aliens. Many of those from earlier sets, the Eon set, or the Milton Bradley, Avalon Hill, whatever it was, set. And I'm sure someone will correct me who knows these things, if any of my subscribers are knowledgeable on this game. Or somebody else who just comes across it and finds it, I'm sure will correct me if I'm wrong. But the idea is it's been out for 30 years. It's been published by numerous publishers. It's gone through a lot of iterations. This particular version, I believe, is the best from everything I've read. Encompasses, and now there's 5 or 6 expansions that are available. Pardon me. And I'm going to show you one that I purchased. I have another one on the way. And so, my wife said, why the hell would you, I shouldn't say it that way, but essentially what she meant was, why the hell would you buy expansions for a game you've never played? Well, because I researched it a lot. And it's like, it's like buying a Criterion movie, for those of you who are who've checked out this channel originally for my Blu-rays and DVDs. You blind buy it because you've done enough research to know what the plot is. You've read some reviews. You maybe even watched part of it. You are a fan of the director. Somebody else whose opinion you value because you know they have similar tastes, have highly recommended it, that type of thing. It's the same thing. And that's why you might buy a deluxe version of a movie, having never seen it, even though there's a cheaper version available. You want the deluxe because you're pretty sure you're going to enjoy it, and you're pretty sure you're going to want those extras, the extra stuff that comes with it, and so on and so forth. The reason for the expansions, in particular for this game, is because the aliens changed the game so much. Even though you've got 50 of them in here, and I'm sure that's a lot of change. To add more aliens only adds more variety. And there's also some mechanics that were added in some of these expansions, especially the first one and the one I'm going to show you, that greatly change some of the dynamics. And then there's a third expansion I'm going to get that's coming out in November that's going to change it even more. And by change it, what I mean is it's going to add some elements of intrigue. Right now, when you attack somebody with your ships, a couple things happen. One is it's a random, you can play with up to 8 players if you have all the necessary pieces. It starts out with 5. Each expansion that the first 3 expansions added to the number of players you could have to make it up to 8. I don't see a reason to have 8 players because I don't think I'm ever going to get 8. I'll be surprised if I do. But even if you did, there's ways that you could probably do something to play that way. But if I ever get to the point where I think I have 8, I'll buy the other expansions. So the intrigue, normally when two people attack, or one person attacks another person, they're going to go into battle. There's a process with cards, and there's no dice, which is good. I don't like the randomness of the dice, but the cards add a lot of randomness in themselves. Each player has a handful of cards. They start out with 8, and you play a card to indicate other armies that are going to join the fray. Or you could say more power or greater weapon, however you want to look at it. And those are determined by points. So I might have 5 points in my hand. The other player might have 8. So I play my 5. He plays his 8. Let's say I'm attacking him with 4 ships. He's got 4 there. He's going to be ahead of me by 3. He's going to have 12, and I'm going to have 9 total attacking. But before all that takes place, before we play our cards, we ask if anybody wants to join the battle, and from the other players. I can ask some players or no players or all players to join me. And there's reasons why you might not ask everybody, and I'll tell you why that is. So another ally or an ally joins me, another player joins me as an ally. If we win, he gets to put one of his ships on the losing player's planet. And the idea is you win the game when you've got 5 ships on, or actually, you've got a presence on 5 different planets other than one of your own. All you need is 1 ship on that planet to have a presence. You've got a colony there, essentially. Your idea is to you want to spread your race across the galaxy. So if he joins me, if a player joins me and we win, both of us get a saucer or a colony. And you can put more than 1 on there if you want for defensive reasons, because I could be attacked on that planet and then I could lose it. I could lose my colony. So I want to put more than 1 on there. But the idea is at least 1, and you kind of go on from there. Now the defender can also have people defend him. And the defenders, rather than get a presence on they don't get a colony there. What they do get, though, is be able to draw some cards from the pile of encounter cards, and those are the ones that give you, +8, +6, and other abilities too. For every ship they commit to the battle, they get to draw a card. Cards can be very valuable because the only time you replenish your 8 cards is when you don't have any more cards that have numbers on them, attack powers on them. In fact, if you don't have any attack powers on them, you can't attack. So you've got to replenish your hand up to 8. And actually, you can exchange your hand. Yeah, if I have a hand and they don't have any numbers in it for some reason, I can exchange those and draw 8 more. If you've played Magic together, it's kind of like having no land, I guess. It's similar. And that's the basics of the game. But then you've got these alien races that add a lot to it. So you can tell I've never read the rules, but I just got this yesterday. Okay, this is some advertising stuff for other games in their line. Fantasy Flight. Here are I did poke out a lot of the stuff. So here's some of the planets. They're pretty thick, 2-sided. Some of the tokens that come with it. I don't know what these do yet. So just keep them in there for now. They all came with these bags. Some of the ships, there's green. See, there's blue, there's yellow, so on and so forth. Purple. And red. A bunch of cards over here, which I have not opened yet. This tells you who you're going to attack. Like I said, it is random. So if you're not playing with 5 players, you would remove, say yellow isn't playing, you'd remove all the yellow cards from here. You just have the red, purple, blue, and green. Not the yellow. Well, I think I'd always play yellow if I could. I like yellow. The attack that I was talking about here is number 8. Yeah. Higher total number the ships plus the card wins. You can also play a negotiate card. If I play a negotiate card, and you play an attack card, you automatically win, but I automatically get to draw cards. I can't remember how many with a negotiate card. I have to read it, and that would give me some cards. So I know I'm going to lose this battle, but the least I can do is get some cards, and that's part. But then you've got also these cards that are wild cards or superpower cards, and this card is mainly meant for the alien called the hacker. Anybody can play the wild thing here, and I'll read what it says. It says, if you are not the hacker, you may prevent your opponent from collecting compensation from you. So you can stop him from taking anything in the way of ships or cards or anything else. If you are the hacker, when you collect compensation from the player of your choice, you may also give that player up to the same number of cards of your choice from your hand. Why you would do that, I have no idea. But I haven't played the game yet, so it'll take me a while to learn that. And only the hacker can play that. So in the beginning of the game, before as you set this thing up, you deal to everybody. This is why these are separated probably. You deal out to everybody 2 of these type of cards. And it'll say at the top, hacker, and another one will say some other alien. The player then chooses one of those 2 aliens, either the hacker or whatever other one he gets, and one of those 2 he chooses, and then he puts this card and the other card he got for the other alien into a pile that goes along with everybody else's. So you'll always have a chance to get your superpower. If you may not get it, somebody else may get it, but you have a chance to get it. And these aliens are pretty powerful. So here's all the planets. I'm going to take those out here for a minute. There's also a larger planet here. I don't know what the heck that is, so I didn't do anything with that yet. There's a larger planet than everything else. And that is this. I don't know what that's supposed to be. It almost looks like Earth to me. But I'm not sure. It's bigger than all the other ones. Not by a lot. As you can see, it's a little bigger. Just that much bigger. Stands out from all the other planets. And there's 5 planets for every color, and then there's this. So I don't know, again, I don't know what that's all about. And then finally, well, not finally, there's some stuff under the board too. Here are the aliens. For instance, this is a barbarian. There are 50 of these. They come in a nice plastic bag like this to keep them nice. I will be putting these into, I got a foam insert for this thing because I do have an expansion that I'm going to show you in a minute. So these aliens have a lot of powers. Let me read you the barbarian if I can. The barbarian has the power to loot and pillage. As the offense after you win an encounter, but before your compensation, if any, is collected. Use this power to loot your opponent's cards. Take your opponent's hand and look at it. For each ship you have in the encounter, you may choose 1 card from your opponent's hand and add it to your own. Afterwards, discard the remainder of your opponent's hand. Nasty, nasty, nasty. Now your opponent will get to draw 8 new cards, but you've taken maybe some really good cards from your opponent. And then what you see is this, and it tells you when you can use this. Apparently you can use this at the resolution stage. I don't know if you can see that it's the one that's highlighted here at the end. Sometimes they're all highlighted, but this one can only be used at the resolution stage after combat is done. You see this card in front of you. What your opponent sees is just a summation of this guy so they remember. He destroys opponent's hand. So that's what they see. They can also look at it, turn it and read it. But this gives them a quick, which I like. So you don't have to turn upside down. Once you understand what the card does, you can take a quick peek and say, oh yeah, he destroys my hand. I know what he does now. I gotta remember his ability, so when I'm fighting him, I don't want to keep anything in my hand that he might really want. Maybe I want to get rid of that big encounter card that I have that's like plus 30 to my, because otherwise he's gonna get it. So I better play it now. So that's interesting. And there's a whole bunch of them like that, 50 of them. I may show you some of those in the next set, because I've already taken enough time on this one, I think. So that is a brief look, anyway, at Alien Encounter. I think, for my money anyway, that it's one of the better games I've ever seen. And I highly recommend, if you have any interest at all in board games, that you consider picking it up, because it really is, again, in my opinion, a keeper of a game. Okay, put all those there. I'll put these there. Perhaps I'll
these here. Okay, just kind of stacking these things up. That is Alien Encounter in a nutshell. I'm sure I've left out a lot of important information, but I've got to read the directions still, and once I read the directions, I'll be better equipped to discuss Cosmic Encounter. I'm really looking forward to it, though. It seems like the type of game that anybody could play. The reading on the alien cards, there is a lot of text there. There's some history text, which I didn't read on those, on the Barbarian that I looked at. But overall, I think Cosmic Encounter will be a great addition to my board game collection. I've got about 10 now, I think, something like that, of new games. And whatever I used to own. I always had some sitting around. In fact, one of them, I've got one called Hero Quest, which came out in the mid-'80s. And for nostalgia reasons, it's a Dungeons and Dragons type dungeon crawler, a board game. You have a dungeon master and everything else, and really is a great game. I can get probably $100 for that game on eBay. More like $200 if I can find one thing that's missing. I'm missing a quest book, which I reprinted from the internet. Actually, it looks better, but people may have a problem with that. Otherwise, it's in great shape, so I may do something with that. I guess I have time to show you the expansion. Or maybe I'll do that in a separate video. Let me do that in a separate video. I'll show it to you here, and then I'll actually do the unboxing, as they say, in another video. And that is Cosmic Encounter, Cosmic Dominion. More on that. It's a user designed, believe it or not, player designed set. They took, they had a contest, and they had various people submit ideas and artwork for the set. And they actually did it. This was the 5th, I think, expansion, or possibly 6th expansion. I'm not sure which one or the other, the 5th or the 6th. And added some new dynamics. So I'm going to show you that in another video. But that's Cosmic Encounter, the game, and the expansion. Cosmic Encounter, Cosmic Dominion. And I'll show you that. Cosmic Encounter, like I said, sells for $59. I get this for $18, the expansion. Which adds new cards, new tokens, some new aliens, 35 new aliens, I believe, in this set. So I'm really looking forward to showing you that. All right, guys, that's Cosmic Encounter. If you have any interest in board games at all, and you like the idea of space, politics, attacking, trying to get colonies on different planets, the game time on this is, I think, about 60 minutes to 2 hours if you get a big game going. But you can play it in less than 60 minutes. And you can also, there's tons of variants for this. Some are included in the rulebook, and there's a lot of user variants that are out there. One's to allow you to play with 2 players. I don't recommend it, but you can do it. It takes away the political aspect of it, the allies and such. But it still is a playable game with 2. You can also play with, instead of having to have 5 colonies, you can play with 4. You can make it 6. There's a lot of things you can do to either lengthen the game, make it more complex, or make it simpler. Or faster, I guess. Like I said, you can play with up to 8 players. So if you have any questions about the game, ask me. I'd be happy to answer that. But there's tons of videos out there showing gameplay of the game and so on. It's a game that, like I said, for many people is their #1 game of all time. It's lasted over 30 years, so it's got that kind of a Monopoly-like. Ticket to Ride is another one that's been out for 10 years and very popular. This is less popular because it's kind of a niche audience on this, I guess. But I think if you like this kind of a game, Star Wars type thing, Star Trek type thing, I think you'd greatly enjoy playing as an alien and trying to get your colonies throughout the cosmos. That's Cosmic Encounter, guys. Hope you enjoy.